Hello and welcome to Protect and Prevent podcast. My name is Opal Singleton and I am the host of this show. Nudes online. It's a trap, it's a trap, it's a trap. Run, baby, run. Teach your kids those words, okay? So today I want to talk about a tough subject, and that is talking to your teenager about online sextortion and what happens when you send nudes. Where do those nudes go anyway? And what are the odds that that's going to turn out poorly for your young person? So, a nude online is every parent's worst nightmare, but somehow it seems like it's almost normal for a teenager. We got a whole new set of research studies that were published today, which is why I am doing this podcast. So this is coming out of University of Wisconsin Eau Claire, and I trust them because they are well-known researchers in this area, and they've been doing this for a very long time. And so what they're coming up with here is they're saying that literally it's almost a way of life for a teenager. They talked to 3,466 teenagers, 13 years to 18 years. I got that wrong. 13 years to 17 years old. And they found out that about 1 in 3 of those teenagers, ages 13 to 17, have received some sort of sext. Now, a sext is not necessarily a nude. It's nuances there, but it is some sort of sexual interaction. And almost 1 in 4 have sent it. So I look at those numbers, and it goes on to say that the consequences can be serious. Nearly half of the teens who had sexted reported that their images were shared without permission. So they sent a nude or partial nude or something like that to someone, and more than half have found out that it was being reshared. And about 50% of that group said that they experienced some sort of form of sextortion. It says that sexting outside a current relationship, in other words, those people that sent a nude to somebody they weren't in a relationship, were 13 times more likely to have that image shared without consent, and 5 times more likely to experience sextortion compared to those that only shared sexting with their partner. Now, what's interesting about this is they don't talk about what the research is after they and their partner break up, because guess what? Teenagers break up. So it's an interesting thing. I believe it's one of the most important conversations a parent can have with their teenager. And here's why. This is not about wagging your finger. Neither is it about you being permissive with your child. What I really think is that the world has changed dramatically. Many of you are aware that I released my latest book recently called Digital Warfare, Our Kids on the Front Line. And it is a hard book to read, by the way. I did it for parents and especially people that are on the front line working with teenagers, so they would understand the various online child sex crimes and know how to deal with them. But as I did that, one of the things I became acutely aware of is very few teenagers understand the world they live in, and most parents have not really given it a thought. So as we've looked at this, I'd like to suggest to you that you back up and have a whole new conversation with a whole new attitude with your child. Now, I am not suggesting you put away all the controls and all the filters and all the setting the standards for your child. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm asking you to do, though, is for you and your teenager to take a whole new look at what is going on. You see, the world changed in 2022 when the entire world became connected by global internet, 5G high-speed internet. We all know that. We're all aware of it, but almost nobody is stopping to realize the impact of that. And by the way, I think that's especially true of pastors. I'm picking on you, okay? I like you anyway. But it is amazing to me how many pastors and sports coaches, by the way, sports coaches could be huge leadership in this situation. But everybody goes, well, Opal, that's pretty negative, and our kids are good kids. Do you know that 45 young males in America over the past several months have taken their own life? And every one of them were faith based kids, and every one of them were amazing, outstanding, exceptional kids. And yet nobody had shared with them the words financial sextortion. And they had not, apparently, their parents had never heard it. And financial sextortion at the heart of the matter is when a naive and unsuspecting kid is lured into sending a sext, a nude, a partial nude. And in this day of AI, you don't even have to send a full nude, they'll fix it for you. But what is happening is 3 years ago, going on 4 now, they began to bring on countries that are developing countries that are experiencing a huge amount of poverty and a huge amount of crime. That means that global criminal organizations can reach right into the back seat of your car or your kid's bedroom if they're taking their device to bed with them. And exactly what is happening is that they have figured out that American teenagers, especially American males, like to send nudes. They like to advertise. They like to brag. And they can make money at it. And it is brutal and it is absolutely ruthless. So, what I'm going to suggest to you is that you sit down with your teenager and say, I'm going to put my wagging finger away. I'm not here to take your phone. I'm not here to lecture you. I want you and I to have an adult conversation because, by the way, you have put your child in an adult world where he can be reached or she can be reached by criminal groups all over the world. And if your child doesn't understand that, you're all in trouble. You see, when that internet connection came on, 5.5 billion people are now online. And that doesn't mean that I believe technology is bad. I don't. In fact, I think the big challenge of this generation is to teach these kids to live in the fastest advancing technological environment in all of history without becoming a victim. And the danger there is they already know more than you do, but they don't necessarily understand the implications. Let me share with you why that's so important. In 2025, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children processed more than 21 million with an M, reports of potential online exploitation. Something like 80% of that originated offshore. And your child is not yet understood. And I know your child is 16 years old and 6 foot tall. I get it. So you kind of start trusting them because they look like an adult, you know, and sometimes they act like an adult, but they don't realize that they're on there with people who want to bring them down so they can make a lot of money. And so I want to sit back and start with a different conversation. Let me give you some kind of thinking about it, okay? These are only suggestions. You know how to talk to your kid better than I do. I don't know your kid. You know your kid, okay? But you start out with, I believe in you. I trust you. I know you have good judgment, or I would not have trusted you enough to give you a phone that connects to 5 billion people around the world, and they connect with you. So I know you have a good heart, and I know you have high moral values. By the way, I do think that's one of the fun kind of projects that a family can do together. Sit down and write out your values online. Write them out. You know, what is important to you? Well, I'm giving you these kinds of ideas, just free of thought. At the same time, why don't you do a family project where you can create the profile of everyone in your family? Look up your house and the address. Go on LinkedIn for mom and dad's job. How many photos are out there? If they're on Facebook, how many photos are out there about that? Has your house been on Zillow? Because many people can now access and see what the inside of your house looks like. So Google your house and see what you can learn about it. Google your teenagers, all of them, and even your younger brothers and sisters. I'll tell you why this is so important. This is exactly how sextortion starts now when you're overseas. They focus on the most successful kid, and they use artificial intelligence, and they build a profile of that child. And here's why that's so important. Ask your teenager if somebody comes online and they're new to you and they're starting to flirt and they're hot and you're impressed and you're tempted to impress them back, because let's face it, teenagers' bodies are better than those people in middle age, and they're feeling their Wheaties. I get it. But think about this. The idea of being globally connected is not just the US. That's around the world, and they can run the profile of your child. That is why they focus on the most successful kids. Of the 45 kids, every one of them, by the way, every one of them, as far as I can tell, were faith-based. And every one of them were super achievers. And I would guess that in many cases, it's the first time they've ever sent a nude. Somebody caught them in a weak moment, and they use AI and photos online, and they will start to look like a hot 14-year-old kid. And especially your son is like flattered. So if you talk to your son, let's say in this case, since these 45 individuals were all males, let's concentrate a minute on sons. Ask them, how do you know that it's not a bad person? And their reply will almost be, they'll be nonchalant, Mom, it's okay. I'll know if I'm being blackmailed. That'll be it, okay? Look them right in the eye. Tell me what your criteria is. How do you know? And they will say, well, I only talk to people I know, or they know somebody I know. Well, think about it. Now these people can sit in Nigeria, Pakistan, Ivory Coast, and remote places around the world, and they can look like someone your child knows because they have your profile. They have pictures of their room. They have pictures of their accomplishment. If they're getting a scholarship, if they're homecoming king, they have all of that. They also know that kid has the most to lose, so they will target them. So your kid will say, well, I only talk to people I know. But now people that don't know, he doesn't know, will look like people you know. And then you say, well, I only talk to my friend of a friend. Well, do you know if your Instagram account, your TikTok account is not private, that anybody can see all your followers? So guess what? They're going to be a friend of every one of your friends. And our kids need to start to understand that. Now, this is getting heavy, okay? I get it. But if it's appropriate, I'd really encourage you in the course of this conversation to go to YouTube. Put in the word scam farms. And it is heartbreaking. There are people all over the world being held in telemarketing centers that are being forced to seduce your child and your grandpa, by the way, or grandma, because they'll look like romance scam from some oil well halfway around the world. Please send money. But I digress. So these people are pretending to be someone your kid knows. And the minute that they send a nude or a partial nude, it can just be, the upper part of the torso. But there is AI now. If they talk them into sending a picture of the genitals, they'll think, well, nobody will know my genitals. No, the next thing is they will put a picture of your face on those. So this day and age, this idea of 1 out of 3 kids sending a nude has got to change. We have to have this important conversation with them so they understand where nudes go when you hit send and why somebody wants one. that a nude online from here on out will change your life forever. First of all, the reason it will is that this couple of years, the entire world became connected. So what's out there now will be shared and reshared and reshared around the world. And this is why I think it's important to have a discussion about digital reputation. Because you're 15 years old, you're 16, you're planning on going to college. When that college runs your profile, that photo of your genitals is going to pop up if it's connected to your name. And even if you didn't send that, if it's been artificially altered, it will be out there. Now, there are ways to try to take it down. We do have the Take It Down Act. I do appreciate this administration passing that, but that's not an end all be all. The Take It Down Act, you can send in a photo that is that you don't want online and have it removed, but it needs to be the original photo. And most kids, once they've sent a nude, will delete it. So you won't have the original hashtag. The other thing that happens is when these predators all over the world gets a photo, the first thing they do is immediately alter it with AI so that even if you can get the original off, they've got all the copies. In this day and age, a nude online is going to be out there. So it's important to sit down and start to talk about digital reputation and what it's like to live in a globally connected world. Now, the next thing I want to share with you, because I'm starting to run out of time, I got a lot I want to cover. I may do it again next week. But one of the things you need to understand is, first of all, anything that's online can be out there and be shared and be reshared and reshared. But I want to make sure you understand and share with your sons especially. And if you know any sports coaches or pastors that I can share this with, please come and write to me. You can write to me at opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. I share that because a lot of times these young guys will listen to their sports coach or their pastor when they won't listen to me. So I want to train all the pastors and sports coaches I can, but first we have to get past their denial. But what you need to understand is as the world came together, this is called financial sextortion. Now, sextortion has been going on for a long time. And historically, it's either a student who's blackmailing another student, a young person, or it's a pedophile that's trying to build a library of sexual images of minors that they can buy, sell, and trade. Now, that's a whole nother discussion, but if you send one of your nudes to one of them, some of these pedophile rings have over 1 million people in them. That means that your child's photo can go to 1 million people before you can ever even attempt to get it back. But what is really scary is financial sextortion from foreign countries. So people are setting in Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Myanmar, Cambodia, Pakistan, Philippines, you name it. And only 70% of the world's connected. So it won't be long till even more poorer countries are coming online. They will get a profile and they will look like a friend of a friend. The minute your son, especially, sends that photo, his life will change forever. I have studied every one of these 45. I'm in the process of finishing that. And, one kid was forced to come up with $25 every day until he finally took his own life. Another one, he received literally 1,000 texts in a 24-hour period. You're ruined. You're destroyed. I'm going to destroy you. The same kind of thing. Several of them sent money. Your child needs to know that if they find themselves a victim of that, even if they sent that nude, please come and ask for help. Don't do anything crazy because they won't be able to handle it themselves. They'll be embarrassed. They'll be ashamed. They'll feel like they've let you down. These pedophiles will hold up that nude image and a list of all of his followers and say, you're a dead man. And what we need to do is have this conversation with our kids. Number one, if you have, okay, whatever, but don't ever, ever do it again. And if you find yourself in trouble, because think about it, it might be that you didn't even send anything. There's a deep fake. But don't do anything crazy like take your life or, hurt yourself or do all of these things. Don't do that. Come with me. And I will give you my word right now that I'll do my very best not to scream and yell and grab your phone. I promise you I will do the best I can because we have to take it on together. There is nothing in the world I would ever want to happen that would cause us to lose each other. You're too smart, you're too valuable. Now, I hope that you can understand that from here on out, you'll realize that if a nude online, a sexting, even harmless. Now, it's bad enough with someone you know. The problem is if you share with someone you know, it might not go halfway around the world, but you can break up. And that person can be vindictive and they can show it to everybody across the school. Show it to a new boyfriend, show it around. Anytime that image is out there, then you are challenged. And you're going to have to take some enormous strides to be able to change it. So I just want to share all of this with you. I love you, and I can understand that you are one good-looking kid, and you're going to get a lot of offers. I get it. But I trust you, and I believe in you. I want us to understand what our moral values are online and personally. I want us to know what the profile is because I could be blackmailed, apparent at any given time now. With deep fakes, anyone can become a victim of sextortion. So we need to be able to share it, and we need to be able to agree as a family that we're not going to give them anything to work with. Now, one of us may become a victim of an AI scam. But in the meantime, from this day forward, we realize that any nude online is a trap. And it's a trap that will change your life. So if you think about sexting, if you see somebody wanting your nude, yeah, it's going to make your ego blow up, okay? Run, baby, run. Get out of there. Don't do it. Ask yourself, who is this person and how much do I know about them? That is another important conversation to have with your young person is how do you evaluate safe relationships online? Because somehow we all go online and we all say things we normally would never say in person. I would never meet somebody in person and then suddenly go, oh yeah, you think I'm hot? I'll strip for you. Here's my picture. You wouldn't do it. But online makes it feel like it's harmless or it won't catch up with you. That is not true. In fact, just the opposite is true now that the entire world is connected by internet. There is more chance than ever that any kind of sexting is dangerous. It's dangerous because it'll take away your future. So before you hit send in the future, stop. Who is this person? You've never met them. Yeah, they seem hot. Maybe they're in your online gaming community. These predators play in Discord a big time, okay? But if they want you to do something that, you look at and you say, wait a minute, this is dangerous. Ask yourself, what do I really know about them? Where are they? Who are they? How did you get my information? And quite frankly, if you can get the young person to run their own profile and the profile of the family, they will fairly quickly realize this person doesn't know anything special about me. Everything they've just said is whatever is online. And anybody who is asking for my nude or my sexting is not going to be somebody that is going to build me up and make me more successful. I'm a success because I try hard and I do good. And I'm not going to allow anybody to take that away from me. That is exactly how financial sextortion works. They get the nude and then they begin to tell the kid, you're ruined. And we're sending it out to everybody. So before your child decides to send something, think about number one, do they know anything unique about me? And two, what do I know about them? Okay, they seem hot, But that could be an AI generated picture, and it could be a 40-year-old guy out of Nigeria somewhere waiting to destroy my life. The world has changed when we're not looking. So this isn't one of those, you ever do this, I'm going to get you kind of conversations with a parent. No, it's one of those times when you really need to be a globally informed parent. And I really believe that that is important, to be a globally informed parent, to understand now with your child what it's like to be on the World Wide Web, and to understand that the more successful they are, the more likely they're going to be targeted. And so that is why a part of the maturing process is you begin to understand who you are online, what it says about you, what it says about your character, and then what other people can know. And when somebody wants you to compromise yourself, especially somebody you have never, ever met, then run, baby, run. It's that simple. You don't owe them anything. And by giving into them, it can change the trajectory of your life and my life forever. So this is a powerful device. I believe in you. I trust you. I'm proud of you. And I am going to ask you that from this day forward, we will agree that we're going to know who we are online. We're not ever going to trust somebody we haven't met, number one, and number two, and we're not ever going to compromise ourselves or our family. But if we find ourselves in a bind, we understand this is a global problem, and you promise to seek us out and ask for help. And I will do my very best not to scream and yell and panic. And together we will take it on. Now, I hope it never happens, but the likelihood is growing every day that every one of us will become a victim of this. So let's do it together. My name is Opal Singleton. The organization is called Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. We are a 501c3 public benefit nonprofit out of Southern California. If you want to donate and support our work, we would highly appreciate that. We're a small organization. We intend to keep it that way, but we've been in business 15 years. We have a high rating when it comes to nonprofits and how we use our money. But more important, if you need help, contact us. Every one of these need to be reported if your child is involved in it. But what is most important is that you prepare your child for what is going to be inevitable in a globally created world. You can write to me at Opal, OPAL, at Million Kids. If this podcast has been helpful, I would sincerely appreciate you sharing it, especially if you know a sports coach that I can talk to, if you know a pastor that is open to discussing this. If your child should go to a private school, the principals of the school need to understand this, especially if it's 5th, 6th, 7th grade, because it seems like that's when they're most vulnerable. So thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next podcast. Have a great week.